So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I just got back from the Apple Store. I have the 11 Pro Max now on hand, and we're gonna go ahead and discuss this phone. This is the Midnight Green 256 gigabyte version. I'm gonna give you my first take. I'm gonna skip the unboxing, as you could see already, because I'm sure you've already seen one. Now, I haven't watched any videos on this, so I only read the press release. So everything you're gonna hear in this video is true to just a first impression here in this one. So let's get into that right now. Let's go. So welcome to my first take on the Midnight Green iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, everything here is my first impressions. I didn't really even have time to look at these much in the Apple Store. And I'm going to begin with the body. So the body of this phone, first of all, along the sides and the edges, it feels very similar to the iPhone XS Max. Now, one thing I will say though is that somehow Apple has made this feel more, it feels a little larger and more premium. Although it is a similar size, it kind of feels larger because it's heavier. So that's the first thing I'm noticing so far, is that it just feels like a more hefty device, which can be good for some people who like a premium feel. But for those of you who like a light feel, I think the Note 10 Plus is still going to be the phone of the year if you want a super large phone that doesn't weigh too much, because the XS Max, or not the XS Max, I'm already getting confused. The 11 Pro Max comes with 226 grams of weight. But overall, I think it gives it a nice hefty feel. Now, on first impressions, those cameras right there, actually, they look quite nice in person. I know there's a lot of jokes and things going around the internet about, oh, it looks like a stovetop, or, you know, there's plenty of things going around of what this looks like. You can leave yours down below, but in person, I assure you, they look pretty nice. They got some like chrome edges around the camera, like the circle that goes around the camera is very shiny, so that gives it a premium feel. And I noticed that the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the camera hump doesn't stick out as much. It's probably because they layered this matte texture over the top, so that camera hump doesn't stick out quite as much, which I do like. I always like when a camera's more flush with the body. And that brings me on to that matte texture on the body. This is just beautiful, absolutely stunning, because for all these years with these glass phones, I've been saying forever, they're fingerprint magnets. Not the case with this new 11 Pro. Now, this also is going to go for the silver, the gold. All the colors have this matte texture, so no more fingerprints, and I think that's a huge upgrade from a hardware standpoint. Now, in the front, we see this beautiful 6.5-inch Super XDR Retina display. It looks pretty similar to last year's display. I'm not seeing a big difference so far. Although I am seeing so far that it looks a little bit more accurate, just a little bit more accurate. Now, the brightness supposedly brighter. I think you're going to see that more when you take it outside. I haven't seen it yet. To me, it looks just as bright as an iPhone XS Max, for example. But the notch is still there, although it is hidden when you do have these wallpapers on here. And let me take you to those wallpapers, because iPhone 11 Pro gives you some nice new wallpapers here. In the live wallpapers, you can see you have the different wallpapers that match the color of the iPhone you're going to get. And of course, you do have iOS 13 pre-installed out of the box, and you can see there you go right there. So overall, the front, not too impressive. It looks pretty similar to last year, but it's the back with the new cameras, with the matte texture, that really feels different so far, and it's just a little bit more weighty. So that's my overall first impressions on the body. I still love the stainless steel that goes around this phone. It gives it a premium feel, just a feel you don't get on other phones, because most phones in the premium flagship segment are offering up an aluminum feel. So gotta love this surgical grade stainless steel, as Apple calls it. I just like that it's stainless steel. It looks pretty, it feels pretty, and it's just a nice quality material that holds up very well over time. You'll also notice that there's no iPhone logo here anymore, and they brought the Apple logo down. So that's a new touch. I kind of like that there's no iPhone logo. I'm still getting used to this Apple logo being so far down. It just looks a little strange right now, but I'll get used to it. And last thing I want to mention while on the topic of the body is that Apple has nailed the quality control once again. This phone has no scratches, no scuffs out of the box. Now, you might say, well, it shouldn't. Well, I've had phones that I've had shipped to me before that had a couple scuffs on the bottom, and also, you know, not in perfect condition. So even though they were brand new devices. So this is one area you can really count on iPhone, is that you're going to get good quality control. When you get the phone out the box, there shouldn't be no issues with it. And Apple's done it once again here for the 11 Pro Max, which is one thing I gotta say is a definite benefit to buying an iPhone. So moving on to the topic of display. Now, the phone gets plenty bright as you would expect for this kind of money, but this phone right here also has True Tone built in, dark mode right from the start. And if you haven't updated to iOS 13, some consumers are gonna think that that's just a totally new thing to have a dark mode if they don't pay attention to tech news and stuff like that. So that's cool that it's there. I'm noticing very accurate colors once again. That's expected. Very nicely calibrated out of the box from Apple. Night shift, and you can change the view between a zoom and a standard mode as you always have been able to on Plus and Max devices. Now this has Dolby Vision as well as HDR10 support, and it has an oleophobic coating and it's scratch resistant. So it's just really an improved XS Max display, but something you're probably not going to notice unless you have a really trained eye. It's safe to say one of the best displays in the industry here for 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. So I don't really have a first take on software because the software is the same as what I've been testing out already on iOS 13 for XS Max. There's really no difference. I do know that there is no more 3D touch on this phone, which I don't know. I'll have to test this side by side, but I feel like it's going to be slower, that it's a haptic press versus the 3D touch. A lot of people probably won't care because they probably didn't use that much, but I actually use 3D touch quite a bit. And I'm not sure I like haptic pressing more than 3D touch, but I will give you an update on that. Other than that, the software is iOS 13. I did a video review on that yesterday. You could check it out on the channel link down below, but it's iOS 13 on here. Grid of icons. You still can't split screen on here, but you do have dark mode built in. They did change some UI elements that make it just a little bit better of an experience, and it's super snappy and super fast as always, super smooth software. Now when it comes to storage, I went with the 256 gig. Let me show you what comes in the box. 241.73 gigs available. Now, one thing I don't like about any of the iPhone 11s this year is that they went ahead and started at 64. I think that's totally bogus to the consumer, and I think that they should start at 128 gigabytes to start. It's just not cool when everybody else is offering more, your competitors are offering more at the same price as your phone. So definitely Apple, if you're watching this video, get that storage to 128 minimum to start. All right, so let's discuss the cameras. I'm not gonna give all the specs, just know that this is a triple 12 megapixel camera on here, and it does do 4K 60 on both the rear and the front. So if I hit the camera right here, you can see we also now have an ultra wide angle, which is the big thing here for the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And I already can see just looking through the viewfinder that there's not going to be a lot of distortion along the edges or fisheyeing, nothing like that. So this is going to be one of the best, I think, in the industry when it comes to a wide angle camera. So while Apple doesn't have the most cameras on a phone, that phone right there actually has more. They probably are going to have one of the best wide angle cameras on a phone. So let's go over here and take a quick photo, and you could see the standard wide, just really good detail already. Now I'm going to do a more in-depth camera comparison and as well as maybe a camera review on this phone to give you more of a detailed, samples and things like that. But what I can tell you on my first impressions, my first take is that it looks phenomenal. Now you can also see that you can frame where you're at. Unlike before, you could kind of see the picture in the background. We can go back out wide right there. Now also, if we go over to video, you can do 4K 60 on the rear, of course, but on the front, you can now do 4K 60. And I looked at this video already. Let me tell you, this video is amazing. And if you want to take video from the front-facing camera, you definitely going to want the iPhone 11 Pro Max easily. Now, on the front-facing selfies, you can also back out a little bit wider to get more people in that photo. So that's pretty amazing as well. I just got to say, this is going to be one of the total camera packages of the year, and I don't even have to test it to tell you that. I can already see it just looking through the viewfinder. You also get some improvements to portrait mode, like the high key light mono, the ability to change the lighting in the background of the portrait. So really, this is going to be a loaded camera, and you have more options to have some fun with the wide angle. Let me know which camera comparisons you want to see down below in the comment section of this video. Now, in terms of audio, we have Dolby Atmos and spatial audio. Let's see how this sounds. Yeah, I could definitely hear it. It's very loud. You're probably not hearing it too well because the microphone's up here, but it's very clear and it has very good, overall clarity is what I'm hearing so far, as well as there's like a thump. There's a little bit of bass in the phone now, which I haven't felt too much before. You can feel it thumping in there. So this is going to be a good external audio experience. Of course, you don't have, headphone jack. And of course, you don't have a dongle in the box. You have to pay for that separately. And that brings me on to something I forgot to mention. It's not an unboxing, but I want to say that there's one thing in the box that is important in this phone, and that is a fast charger. As we talk about battery life, I got to say that the battery life is supposed to be much better. I obviously can't give you a full take on that right now, but it's draining really slow in this video so far. So thumbs up for that. It looks like we're going to get 4,000 or around 4,000 milliamps. I think it's like 30,969 something. You could just round up. It's basically a 4,000 milliamp. Apple's claiming up to 5 hours better battery. Of course, that's going to be dependent on how you use the phone, so I'll have to test that in detail. But of course, you still have the low power mode on here, so that can help out if you want even more battery. Definitely gonna be some pretty good battery life here. I'll let you know the exact numbers soon. That wraps this video up. That's my first take on the 11 Pro Max. You can see I'm relatively positive about it. Now, I don't think there's anything like revolutionary about this phone, but they do refine on the past iPhone XS Max, and they found a way, I think, to make it a compelling upgrade, mostly due to the camera and the battery life. The screen is impressive, but it's not something I would upgrade from XS Max. The speed, also impressive. Again, something I still wouldn't upgrade from the XS Max. Most of the software, it's mostly just the cameras and the battery here for me that really pulled me towards this device. And also that color is just beautiful. By the way, that could be something that pulls you in too. I just gotta say, I think this is definitely gonna be in the top 3, top 4 smartphones of the year. So what are your thoughts on the iPhone 11 Pro Max? Drop them down below. And if you were waiting for the cheaper model, the iPhone 11, that's coming as well. I don't know why, but I wasn't able to pick it up. They didn't allow delivery at my store, so I'm getting it through, the mail. So when that comes in, I will review that. And I think I'm gonna also review the smaller 11 Pro as well, for those people who just don't want a max size phone. I'll catch you guys all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.